I was really surprised because I thought I would file a disability claim and that the salary I had at my job would be compensated at the rate that the disability policy said. And I was really absolutely shocked when they denied the claim. So suddenly we went from having this nice house and being able to afford it to wondering how we were going to pay for the bills. We had to take a second mortgage to pay the first mortgage, and we're just on a declining spiral. We had to sell the house, find other places to live. Eventually, the combination of constant medical care needed, the legal battle going on, the lack of finances just took a toll on our marriage. And my now ex-wife decided to move on with her life. And I was basically living on Social Security. I'd gone from being a technical director in charge of a 40-person engineering division to living on $1,800 a month Social Security and having $1,500 a month rent and trying to pay for the groceries and everything else with what was left over. How can you morally, as a human being, put someone through this in the interests of profit for a company? The system's just wrong and broken.
In a perfect world, insurance companies would always do the right thing. Yet in reality, the industry harbors a dirty little secret. People are giving them money for something they will never receive. What that really means is they're selling uncollectible insurance. Insurance companies rule our country. They control our banking. Look at AIG, too big to fail. They own Wall Street. They catch a virus and Wall Street has diarrhea for a week. And when interest rates fall and their investments earnings plummet, then they run to Congress and scream tort reform. Lawsuits are killing us, they scream, and those greedy trial lawyers are to blame by filing frivolous lawsuits and convincing ignorant juries to dole out obscene verdicts. But ironically, what you don't know until now is that insurance companies regularly and deliberately invite lawsuits whenever the cost and hassles for a third-party claimant look to exceed all potential for recovery. Rather than just doing the right thing, too many insurers prefer to play a game of litigation chicken, a frivolous lawsuit strategy in reverse. Don't like it? Sue me.
Today, the Insider Exclusive goes behind the headlines with Terrence Coleman, partner at Pillsbury Levinson, to explain for the first time ever on national TV, ERISA exposed, what you need to know, and how nearly all employee benefit plans, funds, or programs that are organized to provide insurance, retirement, training, and other benefits are covered by ERISA. In fact, nearly all types of retirement plans you have access to through work are covered by ERISA. The Employment Retirement Security Act, ERISA for short, was passed by Congress in 1974 as an attempt to address widespread abuses in pension and retirement programs. In sum, workers were being promised lucrative retirement plans instead of salary increases, but when it came time to retire, the retirement plans suddenly disappeared. The act was hailed by its Senate sponsor as the greatest development in the life of the American worker since Social Security. It has instead become the genesis of massive injustice and bizarre judicial doctrines. It authorizes insurance companies to deny health, disability, and life insurance claims whenever they can find any possible basis to justify the denial. The language of ERISA is applied to all private sector employee benefit programs, including life, health, and disability insurance. To make matters worse, the remedies under ERISA just to obtain one's own insurance benefits are severely restricted. In fact, the American Association of Justice named these 10 worst insurance companies in America. ERISA contains the following restrictions whenever someone covered by ERISA tries to sue their insurance company. No right to a jury trial. In order to obtain benefits, the insured must prove that the insurance company's conduct was arbitrary and capricious. Even if the insured wins the lawsuit, he or she may still not get benefits. The court may simply send it back to the insurance company to reevaluate, that is, to find some other basis to deny the claim. There are no compensatory damages or punitive damages for wrongful conduct, no matter how egregious. In most cases, no right to submit any evidence except what is contained in the insurance company's file. In most cases, no right of the insured to testify. If one were to attempt to try to enforce these regulations, the insurance companies themselves cannot be sued. The insured would have to sue their own employer instead, but the employer has nothing to do with these regulations. And the nightmare of rules and regulations protecting the insurance companies and screwing the little guy go on and on. But perseverance and persistence can and sometimes does win the day. And in this Insider exclusive network TV special, Terrence will tell you how he was finally able to get justice for Brent Oster, who was severely injured in an auto accident and suffered severe head, back, and neck injuries and was unable to continue work as an engineering technical director for LucasArts. In 2004, Brent applied for disability benefits under an insurance policy issued by Standard Insurance Company that he had obtained through his job. And although he clearly met the criteria for eligibility, he was denied. After 6 long, challenging years, Terrence was finally able to get Brent the benefits that he needed to compensate for his loss of income. Throughout his career, Terrence has seen many innocent, hardworking people become victimized by their own insurance companies, all in the name of greed. And because of that, he is driven not only to get justice for these victims of injustice, but to make sure that all policyholders get 100% what their insurance companies promised and what they paid for, plus get it without hassle and on time. Terrence has earned the highest respect from citizens and lawyers alike as one of the best trial lawyers in San Francisco, in California, and across the nation. And he has built a substantial reputation nationwide by consistently winning cases other law firms have turned down. His amazing courtroom skills and headline-grabbing success rate continue to provide his clients with the results they need and the results they deserve. This is the Insider Exclusive, live from San Francisco, California.
It is my great pleasure to introduce Terry Coleman to the show. Welcome to the show, Terry.
Oh, thank you very much.
Tell our audience a little bit about your firm. What kind of law do you practice?
We focus exclusively on representing policyholders in insurance disputes, and we have a whole section of the firm that represents corporations and businesses in their own insurance disputes, as well as the kind of work that I do, which is representing individuals on disability policies, life insurance policies, and homeowners coverage.
So your entire practice is built on the reality that when a policyholder has an insurance policy, sometimes the insurance companies refuse to pay.
Unfortunately, that's a little bit more than sometimes.
Yeah.
And it is a fact that there are some crooked insurance companies out there.
Yeah.
We represent those people who have been abused by their insurance company, and it happens so frequently. And we're privileged to represent them and to get a result for them.
And you have a client, Brent Oster, who you were successful in getting a resolution to a policy that should have been paid 6 years earlier, but it was a big struggle. Tell our audience a little bit about Brent. Who is he?
Absolutely. Well, Brent came into our office after his disability company had denied his claim. And what was amazing was Brent had just a wonderful career ahead of him. He was in the gaming industry. He was a technical engineer in the gaming industry right at the beginning stages of that whole industry. He had a wonderful future. But what happened to Brent was he was in a horrible, horrible car accident. And what happens in some of these car accidents is if you develop a concussion from the impact, you can develop post-concussive syndrome, and that's what happened to Brent. He had a lot of cognitive impairment, a lot of cognitive difficulties in terms of memory and migraines and so forth. And he submitted a disability claim. He had obtained the policy through his employer, which was LucasArts Films, and his insurance company was Standard Insurance Company, a company that we frequently go up against. And what happened to Brent was absolutely horrible. They obtained his medical records and sent his records off to a doctor that they used time and time again. They pay this doctor over several $100,000 a year to write reports that minimize people's disabilities. And that's exactly what happened to him when he came into our office.
And what happened as a result of this case?
Well, what happened was, so when Brent came in here, he had...
And he's not working at this time, is he?
No, he wasn't working. He couldn't work. He was out of work for about a year and a half. He had no income. He didn't have his disability insurance benefits now, and he was just in a really, really bad state. Now, what happens on his claim is governed by this federal ERISA law, and that stands for the Employee Retirement Income Security Act. Unfortunately, any time that you get your insurance, for the most part, through your employer, you're governed by this federal ERISA law. What happens is when you get this 10-page denial letter from the insurance company, which is what he got, that has all these reasons why we're not going to pay your claim, right at the very end they say, oh, by the way, your claim is governed by ERISA, and you have so many days, 180 days to appeal. Nobody knows that what you actually have to do, you have to submit a full written appeal to the insurance company. You have to give them all the evidence and so forth as to why you're disabled. And if you don't do that within that time period, you're out of luck. You can never, ever get your benefits back.
Now, ERISA was originally legislated in 1974.
Yes.
Was that 180-day period of time, the limitation, statute of limitations, if you will, was that designed in 1974, or has that been something that has taken on a life of its own over the years?
Oh, absolutely taken on a life of its own. When ERISA was implemented in 1974, it was designed to protect workers in the pension realm. Right at the last minute, there was an inclusion of insurance regulation on that, but regulation of insurance has always been a state matter. Over the course of years, the United States Supreme Court has applied ERISA to all instances where you get your insurance through your employer. So there was never any intent to have all of these onerous provisions, including that 180-day time.
That wasn't in it in the beginning?
Wasn't in it.
So how did it get in there?
The insurance industry figured out that, boy, if we can get all of these insurance denials governed by this ERISA, we're going to save billions of dollars. And this is why. Because you cannot get any sort of compensatory damages. You can't get any kind of relief for the damage that the insurance denial caused you in ERISA. All you can get at the end of the day, after this appeal, and if they say no on the appeal, after a whole lawsuit, is what was owed in the first place.
And in this particular case, it took Brent 6 years to recover his money.
It did.
That should have been paid to him over that period of time, correct?
That's absolutely correct. And during extraordinary long time.
And I like to talk about collateral loss in damage. During that time, he lived hand to mouth, right?
Yes.
I mean, it was tough for he has a family, correct?
He was recently married at the time. His wife and he lost their home. They had to move out. And he later on tried to get back to work. After the insurance company denied the claim, failed at that job because he couldn't maintain the job duties with his cognitive impairment. So he was in a bad state when he came here.
And you bring up a very important point. Even after the insurance company is ordered by the court to pay him, they are not punished in any shape or fashion, are they?
Well, what punishment is it if you're ordered to pay what you owed all along?
Punitive damages are not allowed in these cases.
You can't get them. The Supreme Court has said no.
And punitive damages serve a purpose, right? To send a message to not only the company that created the problem to begin with, but other like-minded companies not to engage in that type of conduct, right?
Absolutely. The whole purpose of punitive damages is to change behavior,
Yeah.
not only for the company that's been penalized, but for all the insurance companies that take notice of what happened.
Fortunately, we have Brent with us today, so we're going to bring him on right now. It is my great pleasure to introduce Brent Oster to the show. Welcome to the show, Brent.
Thank you.
Boy, when I read your case and I read all the difficulties you went through, it was 6 years, fortunately, through this law firm, that you were able to get your disability income. That must have been horrible. What was it like?
Yeah, it was. I think when you come to work at an employer, they give you a package. It includes a disability package.
Right.
And you just assume, well, if I ever run into trouble and get hurt, that'll
Yeah.
be there, and it's good coverage, so sure, and you just sign on with the company, and you never really think about it again.
Right. And actually, Terry, there's no employee that when you go to work for, like you went for a big firm, Lucas, right?
Yes.
You look at it and say, well, you know, I don't like that disability insurance. Nobody ever says that, do they? You naturally assume you're protected. But what happened?
So when I did have the accident and it came time to claim disability insurance, my claim was immediately denied. And
Were you surprised?
yeah, I was, because you assume that you just fill out, there's an incredible amount of paperwork to fill out, and once you
What
do
was
that,
it denied for? What was the reason they denied it?
Oh, so I don't remember the exact details, but they basically didn't believe the medical diagnosis.
Yeah.
And thought that I was still capable of working.
Right. And how long did you do a personal battle with them before you came to the law firm here, Terry's firm?
So it would have been a couple of years.
So you were trying to handle it by yourself?
Well, it's sort of a cloudy time because I did have a head injury, so a
Yeah.
lot of stuff my ex-wife was doing. And
Right. But you kept getting these denial letters, right?
Yes.
When you were handling this yourself, it must have been very frustrating.
Yes, because you know, as a layperson, you're just
Yeah.
not equipped to deal with
Their army of lawyers.
the army of lawyers and the.
How did you find out about Terry's firm?
I was referred to him by another attorney
Mm-hmm.
that was a friend of a friend.
Okay. And so generally, Terry, it takes about a couple of years before someone finally says, I need a lawyer, right?
Unfortunately, people come in a little bit too late in the
Yeah.
process trying to seek representation. And, you know, when employees like Brent, when they get the coverage, you know, when they get the package from their employer, you know, nobody ever tells them about ERISA and what ERISA means and that
Yeah.
this is going to be governed by ERISA.
And that 180-day deadline.
That's
Is that-
right. Yeah.
So you have people coming into your office right now that have passed 180 days. Can you do anything for them?
Usually no. And it reminds me of what a judge said once in court. It's a reason why they're called deadlines. You
Yeah.
know, you're dead if you go past it.
Right. So over the course of the number of years, you finally, through the assistance of your firm here, was able to get your disability income. How did it feel when you finally got it?
It was a bittersweet experience because by then I had been out of work for at least 4 years, partially employed
Yeah.
for only another 2 years, and had been through all the struggles and financial difficulty that I'd been through. And then when I was fully employed again, finally we got the settlement.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, you know, that hole still exists. You're missing all of the 401k contributions you could have made along the way, and
Yeah.
your life is just sort of torn apart.
Yeah.
You know what Brent speaks of is the problem with ERISA, because a complete victory, which we did, you know, thankfully achieve in court on his behalf, is always, it doesn't feel like a complete victory, you know, because it doesn't truly compensate folks like Brent for what they went through.
Yeah, there's a lot of collateral damage.
But it was great, you know, to have financial security to some degree again, and
Yeah.
I was able to remarry, and we had a nice, you know, small wedding in Costa Rica, and fixed up a house and moved into it.
Through your experience, what do you have to say to other people watching this show about what to watch out for when they get injured and they have disability insurance policies? What recommendations do you have?
I think when you look at the disability insurance that you have through your employer, you really have to look at what coverage you actually have. So if you check that it is ERISA, you may want to really consider getting a separate disability policy on your own, because ERISA is a really flawed system.
Can you do that, Terry?
Oh, absolutely.
Is it expensive?
Yes, that is the problem with it, and because the insurance industry prices these far differently.
Yeah, I think one of the major things that I tell people is if your insurance policy is governed by ERISA and you have a problem, to get to a lawyer right away, right?
Absolutely.
Because your law firm, you take things on contingency, don't you?
We do.
So when you come to a law firm like Terry's, you don't have to pay money, and you guys don't get paid unless you recover successfully on behalf of somebody, right?
That's right. That's right. That's the way it works.
Well, what recommendation would you give about Terry's firm to other people who are having problems right now?
Oh, they were amazing. They did such a good job for me. They fought a good fight against the insurance company, and they insulated me from a lot of the internal stuff that was going on that would have been very upsetting to me.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I want to thank you very much for taking your time to be on the show, because you're sending a message, and that's why we're here. Thank you.
Okay, thanks.
What exactly is ERISA?
Yeah, ERISA is a federal law that essentially says anytime that that you get your insurance, your welfare benefit, through your employer, you're going to be governed by this whole federal scheme of how you can go about to collect the
Now, this isn't just disability insurance, is it?
No, it would apply to life insurance, disability insurance, accident insurance, all of your health insurance. If you get your insurance through your employer, a private employer, right, a non-governmental entity, then you're governed by this whole federal ERISA law, and nobody knows that when they sign up for these products.
What are some of the problems that an average everyday person is going to encounter when their retirement, when their disability insurance is governed by ERISA?
Sure. What happens is when you get a denial letter, right at the very end they say, oh, by the way, your claim is governed by ERISA. And so the immediate problems that they face is they have a limited time to appeal. Right. They have to go back to the insurance company and say, please, please, with a cherry on top, can I please have my disability benefits? All right. And if they don't do that within that time period, they're out of luck. They're never going to get them. The other thing is, if they do the appeal and the insurance company still says we're not going to pay, then they have to file a lawsuit, right? And they have to file that lawsuit, and the judge in the lawsuit will not look at anything that wasn't in the insurance company's file at the time. It's going to restrict it just to the information that the insurance company collected and papered their file with to support their denial. The other thing is, you cannot have any testimony. You can't have any doctors come in and support your claim.
It's a kangaroo court, basically.
It is absolutely a kangaroo court. Yeah. And if you prevail in the kangaroo court, it's even worse, because then all you get is what was owed at the time. Yeah. So there's absolutely no disincentive for the insurance company not to jerk you around and try to get out of paying it if all they're going to have to pay is what they owed.
Right. How can we make the system better?
We've been trying to do that for years here at Pillsbury Levinson. We went up to the U.S. Supreme Court to try to get the law changed. Unfortunately, they wouldn't do it. We've been trying to work legislatively to do it. That hasn't worked because there hasn't been the political will to go up against the insurance industry. Yeah. So what we're trying to do is we're trying to build public awareness and support for this, and to show cases like Brent's. What happened to Brent is absolutely horrible. Yeah. And if the public was aware of that, then maybe we can actually build some groundswell. And what we get a lot of passion and satisfaction out of doing is helping on an individual basis within the horrible situation that ERISA applies, but we can at least get the most for our clients that we can. Yeah. And we did that for Brent, and we're very happy about that.
Yeah, that was a good result. A lot of people are watching this show, so my question to you is, a lot of people have problems with their insurance carriers that are governed by ERISA. How do you select clients?
We have a very rigorous process of selecting clients. We take a look at all their materials, we bring them in, we talk with them, we talk with their doctors. If we have a strong claim, if the medicine is right, and if the client is a good one, then we put all of our resources behind them. Because, boy, the insurance industry, they have an army of lawyers. They have all the resources in the world, and what the disabled need is an army behind them.
Okay, I want to thank you very much for being on the show. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks for joining us. You can get more information about our guest and the issues at insiderexclusive.com.